Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts. Back to the studio, and today I have a video showing how I made two new layouts in my latest altered book. I'm going to start with a blank page and just work up layer by layer, talking about the collage and mixed media techniques that I used to build these pages. If you have missed some of the earlier videos, this book that I'm altering into is a vintage Italian bank book with lots of stamps, lots of fun. And I do have printable versions of this bank book, not the altered pages, just the blank book with the stamps and the covers. Those are free and they are on my website. So I'm going to link to that in the text below this video. You can go get those and start having fun with your own. If you like altered books, if you like journal arts, vintage books, paper, and other ephemera, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure and turn on the notifications, and you will have more of them in your life. Now, let's go alter a book. Now, I am very lucky. I'm very blessed. I get to work with vintage paper. But if you've seen my videos, you know that one of my mantras is use what you got. And you don't have to have vintage paper to make good-looking layouts. You can use pictures from coffee table books, magazines, greeting cards, old calendars. Just look around, teach yourself to see images out there in the wild that you can use to make layouts. Like this. I got this thistle in a magazine in a thrift store that the magazine cost me 50 cents. And it had some pretty reproduction of plant paint thingies, and so I grabbed it. And now I sort of messy sticker cut this thistle. And I really like how it looks there. It's even though I'm doing a color layout, I wanted it to be kind of muted, which is what I've done with these other color layouts here. Some soft color with some patina. And as I flip back through here, I see that in this card, it actually has thistles, which is really a happy accident, because it means that when this book is finished and we're going through it, that these muted thistle colors and thistles will be kind of a theme that will help the pages hold together. I also have this card. It's not exactly a holy card. It says the true qualities of the heart are the true beauty. And I like how that goes under there and adds some interest to the eye and some layers. Now, I've spent about an hour and a half off camera working on what's going on this side. I know I like to show what I use and what I don't use, but believe me, it was it was getting kind of tedious. I thought a lot about using this envelope here with this copper green sealing wax, and my experiments involved a fish and a cormorant. And I gotta say, I really came, this I like a lot. But before I glued it down, I wanted to look around some more, and so I went to the box o' flowers. And in the box o' flowers, I found some these pages of wildflowers. These are from a book called Concise British Flora in Color, and I use the pages from that book a lot. I also have printable versions that are on my website, and they are free. They are not of these exact pages, but they're very similar. So if you'd like to use some busy, pretty flowers in your work, there's a link to that below this video. Go get them. Now, I flipped through the book until I found some with the right colors, and I'm looking at this hawthorn kind of thing here. And if I trim it here, it's going to, the greens here are going to pick up the greens here. The rose colors are picking up the muted rose colors here. And I can make a tuck spot kind of thing. So I am going to try that and see how that looks. But then I also found thistles. Thistles. When am I going to have the chance to double down on thistles like this, huh? So I'm tempted to do something a little different if I go with this direction. I'm thinking of cutting these on the diagonal here and pulling them across both pages to see what happens. And I won't really know until I cut them and try. So here goes nothing. Now I have this strip over here to make the tuck spot. I didn't cut the edges because if I don't, whichever these I don't use, I'd like to be able to use in something else that might not be this size. So I'm just going to fold that to get an idea. And I love how that looks. I could even move it into the middle here and make a belly band. But, you know, that's not really me. So if I use this one, it's going to go over here. And that has a lovely balance. Plus you've got vertical, vertical, which even though they're different flowers, makes the eye see the pages together. Okay, now let's look at Mr. Thistles. Okay, same thing. I don't want to waste this if I don't have to. So let's just pretend and squint a little bit. See what we got. Okay. You know, I'm really liking that. It's just so much. Yeah, that is tempting. I probably, though, am going to go ahead. If I go with this one, I'm going to lose this card because that's a lot already. But I love how you can still see the stamping underneath. You're getting a lot of coverage here, and that's just really fun and pretty. I changed my mind. I'm going to go with something simpler, more simple. What I'm going to do now that I've got this, I went ahead and trimmed it, and I'm going to just ink up the edges here just a little teeny tiny bit with an ink pad and a blending tool. If you don't have a blending tool, I want this to be super soft, so I'm cleaning off a little bit of that ink before I even start. If you don't have a blending tool, you can use a makeup sponge, and it will do the job just as well. So it's just super, super soft there on the edges. Yeah. Before I glue this down, my question is, do I still want to go with this under this collage layer with the card with the flowers? I don't not like that, but since I'm just going to be gluing down this, and this, I'm going to leave this open so that I can put a card inside. And I have this card, which I like because it would kind of pick up the colors of the cover. That's tempting. Actually, that does still look okay. But if I go with a different kind of a card, like I have this beautiful holy card with flowers also on there, I don't know, it might be getting a little busy. I'm going to decide and glue that down. For the next layout, I'm going to stay with the floral theme. This is a weird hinged card that I bought at a vintage postcard show here in Swansea. It is handmade. Someone's taken, this is from around 1905, 1907-ish. And someone has taken these floral Christmas cards and glued them together. But before they did that, they added this silk fringe stuff in between. And I've never seen anything like it before or since. The fringe is very distressed and tattered, and I could clean that up a little bit, but I don't want to, because to me that's part of the story. It's part of this card's story. So I'm going to glue that down like this, and now it can open up, and that will be fun and pretty. It says £1. That's what I paid for it. And I am also going to leave that because that is very much part of this card's story. Usually when I do a layout, in an altered book anyway, I overplan like nobody's business. Because once it's down, it's down. And I'm using original vintage pieces, and that scares me a little. But you know what? I want this. I want to use this. And what this is a fragment of a paper napkin. I got these napkins. It's some kind of apple blossom by Van Gogh. And I got these at TK Maxx recently. TK Maxx is the version in Britain, is the version of TJ Maxx in America. Australian friends, do you have a TK Maxx? Anyway, mine has a craft section where they have notebooks and sometimes paints and sketchbooks. And they recently had these from leftover stock from museums, I think. So I bought these. I like that color so much. And what I did was I took the paper napkin and I peeled away, there were about 3 layers of white paper, tissue paper, to make it napkin-y. I peeled those all away, and now I just have this super, super thin layer left. And I've torn it asymmetrically, just to the eye. And when I glue that down, it's going to go slightly translucent so you can see some of the stamping underneath. I don't know what's going to go on top of it next. That's the scary part, but I've got some ideas. Let me get that down first, and I'm going to be brave and bold and just glue at will and see where it takes me. I do know that I don't want this to be too centered, so I'm going to pull it over here so that it's more asymmetrical. And that adds some interest to the eye and lets some of that stamping show. A heads up on gluing paper napkins. This is so thin and it's very, very delicate. It will not stand up to, you can't put your glue on this. It will tear and crumple and it will end in tears. Believe me, I have found out the hard way. So what I've done is put this down where I want it, and I've lightly penciled around the edges. And now I'm going to add my glue in here. And I'm not using a lot because you do not need a lot with tissue paper. So I'm using acrylic gel medium. You can use a PVA or a Mod Podge. Use what you got. Okay. And I'm not going to agonize over this. I'm just going to put it down. And just try to flatten it out a little bit there. It's wrinkling. I don't care. That's just some texture. And that is looking pretty. See how, even though this is blue, you can see the stamping underneath peeking through where the white flowers are and even some of the blue. So that adds lots of layer and texture. It actually looks pretty good like this, but I'm going to add something. Now, I like this bird a lot, but there's just not enough contrast here. Okay, here's Mr. Bird with an anger problem. That won't do. I have this guy, and I like that a lot. A lot. It's just his expression. He's curious and interested, and makes you curious and interested. But I actually found this in the box of birds. And now we're getting a lot more contrast. But it still fits in with this yellow here is picking up some of the subtle yellows in the buds. It really pops. I would have been happier if his gaze was going inward. I like, but sometimes when the gaze is going out of the page, it's also as if the image is interacting with something we can't see. Like, oh no, why are you so angry? Or maybe this, can I share your worm? Nom, nom, nom. All right, so this bird, even though he's interacting with something we can't see. So that, to me, brings a level of imagination to the layout. I was thinking about adding a little something here. That's okay, but I'm just not even sure it needs it. Especially since you've got this blue is very similar to the blue here. I have this one. And actually that's a little more tempting because it's got the blue greens. I don't know though. Maybe that's just a little... Huh. Okay, see, I had him flying out here, but now I've got it flying in this direction, and that movement feels a lot different. I'm going to glue the bird down and see about Mr. Butterfly. Now I have my two layouts in these pretty muted colors that, again, really echo the muted palette that I've been using on the colored layouts throughout. I am not sure what cards are going to go here. Here's one with a beautiful angel and a little bouquet there, so I'm thinking about that. I'll probably change my mind about 30 times. And then over here, we've got this nice blue and the blue here that complements the cover. And when I open this card, the yellow bird really picks up and complements the yellow flowers. So that turned out really well. So now all I have to do is finish this back page and cover, and then see if I'm going to alter the cover. Maybe. Who knows? If you have any feedback or any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Let's compare some notes. Until next week, happy making.